the Chris Stuart Emerging Leaders Scholarship Program.
I believe Chris lives on in the leaders we have in the industry today. Some spent years with him, some just hours, but each one has a story to tell about how Chris influenced them, encouraged them, or helped them to get where they are today.
Chris Stewart's positive personality is contagious. He would find the best silver lining out of any negative situation. When everyone would come up with doom and gloom, Chris would find ways to turn it around and give you that positive feeling and positive twist. And that's something that's very rare out of anyone that I've ever worked with.
I also had the honor of serving with Chris on the WWA Board of Directors, and he was so funny. His quick wit and sense of humor made 4-hour board meetings a lot more fun.
Chris was someone who would take you in at any point, all the time, and give you advice, show what had worked. He had documents and information from all the parts that he had worked at, and he would share all of those resources and share all of those things.
You could say the water park was Chris's church, and mentoring young kids was his mission.
We were in a leadership meeting, and Chris asked what our goals were. And I looked at him and I said, I would like to be sitting where you're sitting and doing your job. And he smiled and laughed and he said, great, good for you. Let's see what we can do. And at that point, he began mentoring me and bringing me forward, teaching me the things that I would need to know to run a water park. Another example would be calling his employees golden nuggets. He'd always say if an employee wasn't performing, let's try and get that golden nugget to the next point, or to the next to improve.
Chris was always able to turn a negative into a positive. If we had a bad audit, a guest complaint, or any other problem, it was always an opportunity for improvement.
He always took the time for me. He spent the time to be able to listen to what I wanted to do, and then he gave me great advice, and I could always go back to Chris anytime that I wanted that advice.
People used to ask me, why does Chris move around so much? He's only at a place for 2 or 3 or 4 years and he's gone. And I didn't know at the time, but years later I realized that his main goal was to mentor young kids, get them ready, and as soon as he thought they were ready, he would basically turn them loose and say, all right, I'm on to the next one.
The people that he has left in place have become major parts of the water park industry, and it's all due to Chris Stuart.
Chris's mentoring didn't end when he moved on to a new job. He'd always call to check up on you and see how things were going. Sometimes it'd be a month later, sometimes it'd be a year, but it always came when you needed it the most. I know there are many phones still waiting on a random call from Chris asking, how the heck are you?
We love and miss you, Chris.